Hi, welcome to Makriza Maiden Cook. Prince Mahlang here. If it's the first time on the show, please subscribe as we document Africa's diverse food culture. So I've got my brother here, Kudzai. How's it, man?
How are you doing, Prince?
I skipped on the typical introduction. Welcome to Matopo's Zim.
Thanks. And it's good to be back here. Back home. I think it's I grew up here, and I think my family history also has quite some connections to Matopos as well.
Okay.
We used to have grinding mills in the area,
Yeah.
But as well too, like most of us, maybe not enough, had the privilege to come and experience the Matopos growing up.
Okay.
So the connection has always been there, and I think when coming back to Bulawayo, if there's a place I want to go and I don't have a lot of time, it's always to come back here. And I feel like it's always a good starting point because it's a source place for all of us, right?
For everything.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you love? Okay, just one thing that you love about Matopos.
I think for me, what really resonates is the history. Never mind the geography of it, but just the story of the people of this region, not just, even Zimbabwe, but Southern Africa in general. Yeah, what it represents. From a spiritual perspective, being the seat of Mari, if you will.
Yeah.
And everything that's been associated with our own survival, from rainmaking rituals to the history of even our colonial story, is all sort of cooked and bottled up in this area.
Man, talking about local ingredients. Let's talk about the dish that you're going to cook mostly. Guide us through that and the ingredients that you seek to utilize for the dish.
Yeah. So I think the dish that I want to make today is really going to be something that celebrates everything that we've experienced. Of course, who we are, how we have, as a people, have lived and survived in this region. So I'm going to try to do that by integrating something that we use not only to celebrate and to refresh ourselves, but as well to connect to other areas. So Amasese, but the Amasese itself I'm going to turn into a sauce.
Nice.
I like to work with fermentation a lot.
Okay. Beauty of fermentation.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
This is a dish, I think the first dish celebrating ingredients from this region. We've just garnished with Zumbani tea, Javanica tea. Very aromatic flavor that complements this sauce that we've made using Amasese. Amasese sauce infused with a little bit of soya, onion, and garlic to bring out some interesting flavors cooked over the fire and allowing the smoke and the charcoal ashes to just fall into the pot. So that's added some interesting woody dimension to it. And then, of course, we have to have our vegetables, so Umfushwa with a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes that were included in here. So in terms of the way you'll experience this, you're obviously going to have the crunchier element of the Mufushwa coming through, but that will pair very well with the delicate Amasese sauce that we have. The Zumbani, which we seasoned the steak with the ribeye along with Kalahari smoked salt, and as well to Intolwane. Has a bitter element to it that's then blunted by the Zumbani and the smoked salt, which really suppresses the bitterness of the Intolwane and allowing the other flavors to come through. Finally, the garnish is a millet. Generally, the millet used to make mayo and masese as well too. So we found it dried. It adds another dimension of crunchiness to it, but it's a nutty type of flavor that you'll get. And so nuttiness paired with the steak really goes well together. But what we're trying to do here is show the possibilities of all the ingredients that we have. Masese, we've been cooking for generations. And we can continue to take things forward with these ingredients, with this Masese, by trying different things. This was just an attempt. I'm sure there's millions others. And then we're going to have, we're going to do a simple steak. We got some nice beef there that we just seasoned with a little bit of smoked Kalahari salt, then a steak is always going to be a steak. And quite often I always find I want to pay less attention to that because you can always do it anywhere. But we seasoned it, of course, with Kalahari salt and then Zumbani tea, which you can find the herb all over the region here. Yeah. And this is, the flora that has sustained us and also healed us. And I think food is something that heals. It not just nourishes us, but it brings
healing
properties if we give it its due respect.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman. So, Brother Kudzai, you have traveled a lot across the continent and also have my fair share of travels also. What's your take on when they say that African food is boring, in quotes? Or we once did a video where we said, why is African food the least adopted cuisine? Let's narrow it down to why is Southern African food not out there? Yeah. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I guess it will be a take indeed. I think what is challenging with Southern African cuisine is a number of things. First, you have a lot of societies across Southern Africa. It's very, very fragmented. And it's the same thing that we saw in our history, right? There's lots of disjointed views on I don't even say there's anything wrong with it, but just everyone does things very differently, such that the ability to focus on one and elevate it is a bit difficult to do. But I would also say that quite a lot of our viewing of food has been influenced by our colonial past as well. You only need to go as far as, say, Vic Falls or Cape Town or whatnot to see what is celebrated as cuisine in Cape Town. Top 10 restaurants. It's usually very Eurocentric. And I think over time, even as a people, we stopped looking at our ingredients, even with the reverence that others would look at theirs. The French will fight you about snails, but will we fight people about amacimbi, right? Will we debate so vigorously about some of our indigenous fruit, majanje, and that kind of thing? Will we celebrate the rain season and the coming of Ishwa the same way as someone would celebrate, I don't know, whether you call it some other season in your hunting season in Europe? And I see it now, with a lot of what you're doing, a lot of what other people are doing, that we're starting to re-embrace and to celebrate and to explore some of these ingredients. And I think in time, this is what's going to make us innovate a little bit more. We need more people innovating. We need more people moving away from tradition. Tradition will always be there, but there's no reason why we can't try to do other things with these ingredients
that we have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my guest here is I was just saying these beautiful pictures on Instagram. So can you just go on Instagram now and type plated poetry? Then come back to this discussion. So, man, back to the ingredients. What's your relationship with food?
I think food, like many people, always starts with, their mothers, grandmothers, and the experience growing up. I think that's no different for me. Food is memory. But it also has been something that is also connected to my creative side. I use food not necessarily for the dishes themselves, but to try to tell a story. And I do that quite often where I'm based now in Switzerland through a supper club I call Oral Tradition. So it's not just about the food itself, but can we integrate some interesting stories about who we are, where we're from, where the ingredients come from, and what that means to us as a people. So that's really now been my relationship with food. Perhaps something I played around with loosely growing up and over the years, but certainly picked up in intensity, particularly when lockdown in South Africa 2 years ago.
Okay. So the lockdown now gave you that time to experiment more, get more food, like practice more on the food. Okay, what do you love? Okay, just one thing that you love about matopos.
I think for me, what really resonates is the history. Never mind the geography of it, but just the story of the people of this region, not just, even Zimbabwe, but Southern Africa in general. Yeah, what it represents. From a spiritual perspective, being the seat of Mari, if you will. Yeah. And everything that's been associated with our own survival, from rainmaking rituals to the history of even our colonial story, is all sort of cooked and bottled up in this area. But as well too, I think just the nature, the ingredients you find around the area, and as well too the animals. The largest population of leopards in this region. The eagles that you hear flying somewhere, echoing across the various hills and that kind of thing. And as well too the stories that you get. I find this is a very sacred place, but also a place that helps me quickly reconnect with where I'm from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what impact do you want to have in this world?
Wow. Look, I think, if I were to describe myself, I'd say I'm a chef, I'm an explorer, and I'm a storyteller. Maybe storyteller, explorer, chef, in that order. And I think what the impact I'd like to make really is around making sure that our stories are captured and told in a meaningful way. And as I said earlier, food is simply a medium that keeps people engaged and connected. But it also creates this multi-sensory experience that I can tell you a story about Umsuzwane, right? Or Amasese. And you might not have tried it before, but you've tasted it. So you have some concept. And now the story itself becomes that much more vivid. And so for me, I would like to be able to my impact would be around getting some of these stories, these cultures preserved through the cooking that we do and the stories that we tell. And finally, I think the last one is really around making sure that catalog of information is available freely for anyone who wants to use it,
Anytime.
Yeah, and then we shouldn't have an excuse not to have used our goods. Here it is, open a book. And so that's my work. That's why I spend a lot more of my time. The dishes are maybe just the tip of the iceberg, but it's more on the research and that cataloging.
And stories.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, man. Learned so much from the shoot today, even doing the planning towards the shoot. And the discussions also that we had.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, my editor there in terms of time, because there's so many things that we discussed, but I'm just happy on the food perspective that you're taking.
Yeah.
I'm learning, and I'm just a student of life.
Yes.
And I just love people doing this work. As you say, there's a new awakening that's happening. And here on the show on Makriza and with the guys, we also just want to play our part in preserving and also embracing our food identity. Yeah. Without any shame, without any guilt, any embarrassment. Yeah. So thank you so much, man. Coming to the show. So if people want to connect with you, how can they do that?
You'll find that I'm not really that active that much. I usually just post and go. But if you message, I will respond. So plated_poetry. And of course, we will be doing a lot more of the oral tradition supper clubs.
I wish to come one day, man.
But absolutely, I think we want to do some of these here in Zimbabwe as well too. So
super.
We'll be putting it out there.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man, and thank you for the incredible work that you guys are doing. I think it's really important that you come out here, and I've enjoyed.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Okay, you can follow brother here, plated_poetry on Instagram. He said you send a message, he will respond. But anyway, thank you for watching. Principal Omasham here, Umsuzwane. I'll catch you on the next one. Please also follow our work on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter @Makriza Made Me Cook. And also check out the stories on our website, makrizamademecook.com. But anyway, remember, keep the love, keep the ubuntu. Respect yourself and respect others. Ciao.
Njelele.